The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Good afternoon, people. Thank you guys for tuning in to Heavenly Sent Conversations. Heavenly Sent people you should know. I am honored to have these two young men on here to tell their story, to tell the things that they're doing, they're changing narrative. And, so often Black men of color get this bad stigma that, that we can't get it together. So I'm just so grateful to be able to present these two guys to you. So you guys can hear what they doing, how they doing it, how they got started, they what, when, and why. So with that being said, I want to first thank WVTC Radio for allowing me this platform to be able to bring on guests. So without further ado, we have Al and Mr. Lewis. So Al, if you can be so kind and just tell us, give us an intro about who you are.
Yes, first of all, thank you all for this platform. Thank you, Miss Cynthia. I'm Al Stinson. I'm a lifelong resident of Chicago. I came here in '77 when I was 5 years old, and I have dedicated my life for being a model that I didn't see. I actually call myself a AIDS survivor. From all my adverse childhood experiences, it created my superpower. And so, I feel like it's on us to turn us. And it started with Black men becoming conscious, and going back and rebuilding some of the things that we helped destroy. And so that's been my life mission. I'm a certified trauma resiliency life coach. I'm also the Becoming the Man bound curriculum specialist, and I'm also the community outreach for youth guidance. And we focus on community rebuilding. And, one of my common phrases is there's no community without common unity. And so there's no community without common unity.
I like that.
And so that's what we're trying to build on the West Side and just throughout Chicago, to get back to the basis of having that common unity and building from with us. I feel like we all that we got. We just got to use our resources the right and correct way. And I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Robinson.
Mr. Robinson, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a guest at such a short notice.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I've been in Chicago my whole life, and always try to serve the community, business owner, hairstylist, just working to serve the community and give back. Love my people, and been in Garfield and Lawndale for many years, trying to give a good example to follow. Through actions, not just talk, but through action. So pretty much just the one who decided a long time ago that change can happen if you just change your thinking. So with that being said, I decided a long time ago to try to just show the young men how to live a better life, and you can change even after you go through hardships and difficulties, but you can change.
I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Al, with that being said, so for me, I like to know people's why, because a lot of times, people think that you were raised up, well, not just you, people in general, they came up with silver spoon and their parents was rich and things was just grand. And that's not the story with so many people. So what's your why? Like, what was it that you saw and made you want it to change, or what you've been through, or give us the backstory?
I was born to a mentally ill mother, and so I didn't see my mother in her right mind until I was 13 years old.
Wow.
And so some of the things that I saw, and to just be in complete transparency, my apartment became a drug house. And so this is a way that we had to eat at an early age. And just seeing so much going on in my home and in my environment, coming here, our uncles bringing us here and putting us in an environment, the six of us, just getting us in that, and we was in survival mode. And I just think life got to be better than this here.
Wow.
And so just understanding those certain processes at an early age said, I have to be the model that I want to see. Praying and everything else didn't change my condition at that time. So at an early age, I said, I have to be more than what I see in spite of everything going around me.
Wow.
And eventually I told myself, I say, hey, if I can get to 25, if I ain't dead or incarcerated, I'm gonna be a model of change, and I'm gonna change the paradigm shift. I'm gonna create the paradigm shift here, because we don't supposed to be living this way.
Wow.
And so that's my why. Just seeing the men that I didn't see every day, and wanted to be that man for young people to see, for younger men to see. So that's my why.
Thank you for your transparency.
And my why is simply, when I was a young man, I had a child, and coming out of high school, started experiencing trouble and difficulty trying to learn how to be socially accepted in your community with the fellas and stuff. And that wasn't good. It wasn't really something that I knew that suited me. But under peer pressure, we follow poor examples. So when I decided to make some changes, I knew it would be for good, because it won't be just for me. It would be for my family as well. I needed to live for something more than myself. And that worked for me, because I always thought I was a good thinking man and intelligent, but I say I can't seem to outthink the things around me to make me better.
Wow.
But then I knew that was not the truth. So I decided to just make some changes. But my change really came when my mind changed. You change your thinking, your action change.
I like that.
So when I redeveloped myself in terms of just thinking and learning and becoming educated, and putting my knowledge to work, that's my real reason for just changing, because I knew I could, with just being spiritually strong and not leaving the community, but just changing the way I think. So that was my why.
So Al, what do you think needs to be implemented in our communities for a change?
I just think we need to be re-educated. Education, this system of education has failed us, and the village has been broken. And so you can't repair the village without re-educating us. And the re-education had to come from us. It have to be from us, from our people, and it have to be African centered.
I love it.
Because like I said, we have so much work to do, and we have to have I feel like we have to have rite of passage centers in our community, because unfortunately the streets are our rites of passage for young women and for young men. I just feel like every block or every church, in every space, there should be a formal set of, I can become the person I want to become in this building, because we don't have no formal rite of passage systems here, and that's number one. We have to have. I feel like we have to have that, because we're not preparing our young people to be responsible adults, because of everything that's going on, the plethora of things that's going on in our community. So that's number one, because if we can't get it at home, we got to get it somewhere.
Hello.
And I feel like we all have to be a part of that. We have to take a hyperlocal approach, and there have to be a systemic approach to that, to really just understand what community is really about.
Louis, same question for you.
Okay. Do you mind repeating the question?
Sure. What do you think? What type of changes do you think should be implemented, or initiatives to change what's happening in our communities, with all the stuff that's going on?
Well, it's not a simple fix to that. I believe that we have to become more in tune with each other and more interaction. We have to take the younger people and share our wisdom with them. We have to truly make time. Everybody is so distant, socially. We get in a corner and do what we like to do, and We don't want to be bothered, but that doesn't really help the young people today to have guidance and real examples to follow, because they watch a lot of what they see on social media. They don't take time out to really listen anymore. And it's not just like I said, a quick fix to that. But for each case, it needs to be sometime looked at and examined and make a choice from one case to the next, because it's not a one size fit all to just remedy to our ills. Wow. Yeah, it's not. It's a real difficult thing to really touch sometimes, because everybody's going through something, and you don't know how to touch everybody all together at once. You just try to help someone and see, could you be a good example for them to follow, and not just tell them all the time and talk to them. You have to show them. So it takes time and personalized care.
And real quick, I want to say too, just taking that we concept. Malcolm X said, if you replace our we, even sickness become wellness. We got this thing, oh, they sick. No, we sick. Everybody in this community, we sick. Because if somebody catch a cold here, we all catch that cold. So we got to get away from that I thing. It's a we thing. We have to take a we approach.
I agree.
So what do you guys think about counseling? Because for some reason, probably up until a couple years ago, counseling was frowned upon for our people.
Yes.
I feel like that's a symptom of post-traumatic slavery syndrome, because by me growing up and having a mentally ill mother, that was always stigmatized in our community. You don't go to them and you don't go get counseling, because they were like, them folks made you crazy, or they made you mentally ill. So you don't go to the people who made you mentally ill for medicine. Wow. And you don't talk about that. And unfortunately, that's what we suffer from. That's passed down in our DNA. We suffer from our grandparents. Our grandparents' mental illness, because they never got addressed, and they suppressed it, and that's still up until now recently was frowned on, because like I said, you was taught you don't tell people your problems. You don't go outside and tell. And we have to get away from that, because that's why we hadn't truly healed. I feel. And so I'm an advocate. That's why I got into the mental health field. When I got out the street, I went to school for substance abuse, alcoholism, and addiction, plus mental illness, to understand my mental illness, my mother, and my ancestors' mental illness. So that's key. Just destigmatizing that thing around mental health.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, and with that question, it's very taboo for us in the community. No one wanted to be labeled so-called crazy. But the truth be told, we have to change the narrative with that, because we suppress a lot of our feelings and our emotions, and it causes us to become sick sometimes. Either way you look at it. So you need to get help. But we men, we very much sometime against it, because again, the way we've been taught. But now today is more help that's more readily available and accessible. So I think the narrative is being changed, but it's slow coming. So we have to just continue to work at that, because I guess we can call ourselves old school, but I see hotlines you can call. None of that stuff was available at first. I see people talking about it, and still I never sought counseling because I didn't know how.
Wow.
But I needed help sometime, but I got it. I got a lot of good spiritual teaching, and not to add religion into the equation at all here. I just know too that you just have to sometimes have a made up mind, and it can change your conditions, but we have to be open to talk. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today.
And then too, we kind of sort of like normalize. If I could just be candid, we grew up in a place where, we'd be like, hey, shit, he crazy. It's what it is. We normalize this,
right?
This every day. So, and then into the sickness got worse. And so, you know, that's the thing, and it's not normal because we hadn't dealt, like I say, we hadn't done with our ACEs, our adverse childhood experiences, and that get passed on through each generation, and that's something we have to start really just putting our feet on right now because it's going to get worse.
Wow.
Yeah, we have to address it. Because the younger people are not having nowhere to go and turn to, and it's a stigma associated with having to go talk to somebody. What's wrong with you? You look at the police officer and a lot of the even the healthcare professionals and just responders to crisis. They need help sometime and don't even know how to go get it. So if you're gonna look at them and see that they having trouble doing it, then you can see the kids going through even more because they don't have a clue. But we have to make that a point to speak about and make it easy to deal with. Don't feel ashamed.
And I can give you a real quick example. I always share this story. You know, I do group with a lot of young men. Like I say, we do a program called Becoming a Man. And so inside of our circle, we do a check-in with our young men. So we do a check-in it's called PATH, a physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritually. And so I say, when I'm checking in, and I ask the young man, how you doing physically? And the young guy say, I'm effed up. I said, well, how you doing intellectually? He said, I'm effed up. Emotionally, I'm effed up. Spiritually, I'm effed up. So I asked him, I said, why wouldn't you feel that way? When you feel like the environment is effed up. But how can we talk about it and heal from that and give you the words, the right emotions, so you start overcoming that feeling? And that's what you have to meet our young people where they're at. You have to meet us where it's at. And that's his feelings. And so I always go back to that when we're trying to bring about a certain healing and awareness, because we're unconscious. So many of our people's unconscious. I was unconscious as a youth. So the stuff we do makes sense. And so until we become conscious, now we say, okay, damn, did that really make sense? No, I was up under some type of programming. So it's just bringing that certain awareness to our young people and men.
I love it. Louis, as a Black man today in today's society, what are some of the challenges that you face?
The challenges I face today is the challenges I faced so many years ago.
Wow.
Haven't been a real big change at all.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah, it is. But like I say, when I became just more knowledgeable and I felt like I become learned, I can't go and use the excuse I used in the past and say I don't know. Because a lot of times I follow poor examples. And with not being able to see good, strong men in the community to follow, I just follow anything that was put in front of me.
Wow.
And it's a sad reality. It's a sad reality, but that's what I did.
Wow.
But now,
wow.
What I like to say to add to that is simple. What the biggest thing that I really see today is that, the youth today, they have more opportunity, but they don't have the wisdom, and it frightens me because I watch my kids, my grandkids grow up, and they've been misguided the same way we're misguided, but they're not afraid. They can face death and look at it right in the face, but the wisdom is not there. They don't make wise choices.
I agree.
Wow, it's really deep because another thing that I really am afraid of, they got a lot of new drugs out here in the street that they call designer party drugs, and the kids don't stand a chance. We can use some drugs back in the day and we'd be just a little high, but it just send them out their mind right away, and even overdosing and killing themselves. Yes. So I fear that.
And killing others.
And killing others right behind it because they don't even be in their right mind. So correct. I'm afraid for so many reasons, but nothing really changed.
Wow.
Today, I feel the same thing I felt when I was a young man, watching my own kids and grandkids grow up.
Wow.
Yeah, it hasn't changed too much at all. And I just have to be straightforward and say these things because we don't get better if we don't talk about it. Yeah, it has to be discussed.
Thank you. Wow, that was deep. Al?
Same thing. I studied I studied a lot of behavior mechanisms when I went to school to re-educate myself and just understand the behavior and how the mind works. And Carl Jung, he said something profound. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it'll dictate your life and you'll call it fate. And so we have so many things that makes us unconscious in our day-to-day life that keeps us unconscious. And until we understand and help our young people see the programming, they're gonna become the program. And so, I didn't transition until I changed my brain, changed my mind, and came out my unconscious mind and became conscious. And so we're gonna continue to have those things because them things I put that by design. And so I often tell people all the time, when we look at the Black Panther Party, them young people were between the ages of 16 and 24. So the system made sure that they would never have a group of young people from the age of 16 to 24 with that much power.
Wow.
And so each generation that comes along, it has its own set of unique challenges. In the 80s, we had this Black movement thing, and then they smacked us with cocaine. So now in this new generation, they smack them with the pills and the drills.
Wow.
So you have to get them to a place where they can understand their own consciousness, because unfortunately, the old people with old timers always say that boy is the chicken before the egg. So that means his life was already predetermined before he even come out the womb.
Wow.
But so it's just getting to that certain level. So, and that's what I'm doing. I'm about restoring and re-educating the mind, getting our young people to change their brain, because if they change their brain, they'll change their life. It's just simple. You got to change your mind first. All is mind.
Wow. Thank you. Lewis, question for you. How do you define success? Because now, of course, in society, we see that, if you got the latest Jordans, if you got the chains and the clothes, you doing it.
That's a great question. But I look at a lot of things from the inside out, not from the outside in, because material, it has the value is really not there. We place the value on it, but the real value is when you can feel good from the inside out. Spiritually, you're in good health. You're moving around.
I love it.
You got a positive mental attitude, because then you stress less. It helps you live longer. So, when you talk about health is wealth, success is not determined by what you own and what you have, because when you notice everybody who leave here, they never take any of it with them. It only is temporary. It's not designed to stay with you forever. But it's good to have nice things, but you don't want them to have you. You want to be able to use them for what they're worth. And you don't want to put too much value on it. So to answer the question, what is success? I think success to me is just being happy knowing that I'm okay and my family's okay. And, I can see a little clearly now. It was foggy for me at some point in time in my life. And I done slowed it down some. So life has slowed down for me because I'm not in a hurry. I understand.
Thank you.
I do understand. So that's my success, because I've had a lot of material wealth, but just being able to sit here and speak and share my story, I think I'm doing well.
Thank you. I like that. Great answer.
Doing well.
Al, questions on you.
I think success for me is just being aware, just understanding why we value material items. Unfortunately, when you come from poverty and you come from less, you do the most. And so when I was younger, I didn't have, excuse my language, I didn't have my own bed. I didn't have nothing. I literally had to drop out of school at 5th grade because I didn't have no clothes. And
wait, Al, let me stop you. What did you say? You said, I'll need to write that down. I like that. You say when you come from poverty, you said something
I said when you come from poverty and you come from less, you do the most.
I like that.
And because we never had. So we go try to make up for everything we didn't have So you see, once we get famous, if you grew up and you have one bedroom, you're gonna get a house with 30 rooms.
Oh my God!
If you grew up with one pair of shoes, that people made fun of you're gonna have 50 pairs of shoes because we hadn't addressed those adverse childhood experiences, those ACEs, them hurts. And so then they tricked us and said, hey, this is what success looked like for Black folks. 20 cars. You sell 20 cars and everything else, because they want us to keep buying material. We have became a material person because we hadn't had that certain material. And so that becomes our motivation. And so many people, unfortunately, equate that to success. And that's bad. And that's by design. Because it was my thing. You know, I still buy a lot of clothes to this day because I said I would never not have no clothes because of the embarrassment of me not having clothes when I was in 4th and 5th grade. And so, you know, and that's what we have to deal with, that mental illness from just being poverty. All these are symptoms of poverty that we equate to being successful through materialism. And then we still end up in it because they don't have no value, so then we back broke. Empty. So that's just something we have to change with educating our young people and our adults on financial literacy. That's going to keep us in that mode of thinking because we more financially illiterate than anything.
So this is the question that I want to ask y'all. So in today's society, it seems as if almost the gender roles has been reversed. You got the men wearing the tight pants, the men carrying the purses that they call the man bags. You got them dyeing their hair. Then you got the women doing. Can you guys shine a light on that?
You go ahead, Al.
Please look up the ISIS paper. The ISIS paper by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing.
Okay.
She actually talked about this as 60 years ago.
60?
Yeah, 50 years ago.
Wow.
This is by design. The plan was always to emasculate the Black man and make the woman masculine. Because if we do that, we'll be fighting each other and we'll kill each other energy and we'll kill the spirit. We'll break ourselves.
Wow. And
so the thing was to make the Black man become the woman and the Black woman become the man. And so now if you have role reversals, you stop a nation from being built correctly. And you get into these gender wars. And that's why we have these big gender wars every day. That's all you see on social media is the gender wars. But they created that war. And so, unfortunately, a lot of us seeking success, we saw, hey, put that dress on, wear that dress. This is cool here. Then when we did show our masculinity, they say, okay, well, that's toxic masculinity. But who defined that term? Who did that come from? That come from a white person. Because they never understood our African energy.
Wow. We
have both energies. But when we pursued our masculine energy, that became a threat to society. And so I apologize to all the sisters that's on here. I apologize to you all because what society did, they took the Black man from the home. Someone else chose the drugs and got incarcerated. So in a sense, y'all had to become the father and the mother.
Wow.
And y'all had to carry more masculine energy than feminine energy. And unconsciously, a lot of women can't roll out of that because they had to take on that energy to be both parents. And they would tell you will have some women say, hell, I'm celebrating Father's Day because I always been a father. And so many of us don't know how to de-roll from that.
Wow, that's deep.
So it's real deep. So I'm gonna let Lord speak. I don't want to take up all the time on that.
Well, you know, when you don't have an agenda, somebody will point one to you. And, someone will give you an agenda. So with what you described and the way we dress, the clothing, it has a negative connotation with it all along. It never speaks to men who have their clothes off of them, women who behinds out. We naked today. we don't have respect for ourselves. We don't cover the women and protect the women in the way we should, because we know that the woman is the everything to the nation. You know, she there's no nation without the woman. So you have to protect her first. But then when you're looking at men who today, I don't know how and when it happened, but it's been a lot going on when it comes to the role reversals. The woman is very aggressive. I guess she's angry and she doing so much. The man is not there. He's absent. But when you do find a man who you think you can help build, don't tear him down. Try to build him up and grow him and allow him to become a man who can be productive and want to be a part of what you're doing. Y'all can work together and y'all can meet in the middle. You can compromise, but you can't tear the man down. So today it's a lot of toxics that we don't necessarily understand, but you definitely know that the feminine things that's happening with us men, a lot of it come from some of these drugs that's being introduced to us. Well,
Really?
Yes, they have drugs that would makes the man more feminine than masculine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I mentioned to you about the party drug, the designer drug. They designing the drug to target a certain specific part of your brain that would cause you to act in a different kind of way outside of your nature.
Wow.
So now we're dealing with that. So we don't truly understand it because the games that's being played with us as people and the way that they experiment on us, we can't even see it. It's a hidden hand there.
Wow.
So with that being said, that hidden hand that we're dealing with, the one who do know, he has to be willing to teach and share with what he know. And that's why I'm here today to say that we're suffering from reasons that we don't even understand, but it's some things going on behind us that we don't even realize that it's called cause and effect.
Yes, certain chemicals. I make that aware to all the young men in my group and the young ladies. Certain chemicals that's in the marijuana now is decreasing the testosterone in the young men, and it's up in the testosterone in the woman, in the young ladies. It's causing the young men to develop more estrogen.
Yeah, and it's not just the fentanyl.
It's not fentanyl.
Stuff in there, yeah.
And so this is it's gonna cause an imbalance.
Yes.
And so you will see so many young men that's emotionally emotionally effeminate. And it's from substance. And then, like I said, it's from the culture too.
The culture. They don't mind wearing the tight clothes and having a more of a feminine look. You can sometimes see a young man walking down the street. You don't know he's a young man until you actually look at him.
Correct.
Right now, but you see the young ladies, they more masculine. They're aggressive. They would tell you, "Hell, I'll knock your head off. I'll knock your block off."
Yeah.
Because it's what it is. Because of these substances, so many things have made them two-way. Where it's like it's controlling the way they actually behave, the way they move, the way they think, and it's happening up on the agenda. And so we have to bring awareness to that.
Wow. Al, what's the best advice someone has given you?
You don't lose, you learn.
Say that again.
You don't lose, you learn.
Can you explain that?
I used to be like, man, I lost a lot. And somebody told me, take the lesson. So you're not really losing if you learn. So, I often tell young people, fail means first attempt at learning. And so everything where I felt like I lost, my greatest lessons came from that. I learned from them. Now the thing is, you have to learn from the loss. And so everything that in the past, I was like, man, I lost this, I lost relationship, I lost money. No, I learned. Now those same things, if it would happen to again, it would happen because I learned the most valuable lesson. Most of us our greatest lessons come from losing something.
Wow.
And I just think, I always look at that. And I tell young people, even in sports, you to lose a game, what can you learn from the game?
Wow.
And so, even in the streets, that's the mentality. You got to consistently learn. You got to put a twist on everything, because some of us don't come back from that. But you will have somebody who will say, well, my failures led to my success. But then you have people that don't come back from failure.
That's true.
So just, hey, you don't lose, you learn if you take the lesson.
Lewis?
Yeah. Me, I would say never be afraid to change. That was told to me, because change can be good. Because it's not always a negative. It's a positive change, it's negative change. But don't be afraid to change, because uh, everything has a season and it changes. So you got to know when it's time. And it sometimes comes natural, but some of us take a little longer than others. But don't be afraid of change, because it's growth and change. And that was told to me. And, you know, sometimes we men, we stubborn, and we don't always want to change because old habits. But I believe that we can change your time. But again, the wisdom has to come along with it too, So that was the main thing that I have gotten advice, and it was always told, don't be afraid to change. Change is good.
I loved it. Al, what is something that you would have told your younger self back then?
What I just said, you don't lose, you learn.
Okay.
In actuality, I am because I am because of that. I probably wouldn't, outside of that, I wouldn't tell myself nothing. I feel like I had to go through that. I had a post-traumatic growth. So I look at myself as a superhero. And I tell people all the time, all superheroes got trauma, but their trauma is what produced their superpower. Batman was the most diagnosed superhero goddamn in history. But every trauma creates a power when it travels. And the reality is we come from trauma. But look at us, we are powerful people. So if we wouldn't have had that trauma, we wouldn't have been able to invent anything that we have today. We wouldn't have been able to become who we became without that trauma. It's just that we can't fall into it and become a victim of our trauma. If we can have a post-traumatic growth to it, all of us will have a creative and a superpower that we can help to heal and save the world with. And so I wouldn't tell myself anything. It was divine the way certain things happen. And I wouldn't change that.
Wow. Lewis, question. What's the difference between surviving and living?
Living is when you have purpose in life.
I like that.
Yeah, you have to have purpose. Surviving is when you just do what you can, you don't do what you have to do. It's a difference there. You know how to do the basic necessities, but when you put effort into things, you make things come to a reality, materialize things. We have a lot of great thoughts in our mind, but we can't bring them to a reality because we don't force the issue. We have to force our hands sometimes. See, I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for my mind. So I developed a strong mind with purpose and living. And so when I say I'm gonna do something, I get it done because I understand this is what life is. But to do nothing and just barely survive, this life is too short. And you wanna have a legacy even for yourself to say, man, I got it done. I didn't play. I didn't sit still. I didn't wait on it to come to me. I went and got it. So that's living for me. That's life. I go get it. Yep, every day.
Al?
Proactive and reactive. Surviving is reactive. Because when you're in survival mode, you're in a certain part of the brain, which is that amygdala brain. And you're not thinking. And when we're not thinking, it's causing so much damage to us. So when you're proactive and you living, you in your prefrontal cortex, you reasoning, you rationalizing, you slowing down, you breathing, you taking care of yourself. But this here is our reactive.
Wow.
And that keeps us in anxiety mode, keeps us stressed out, keeps us doing everything that's going to cause us an early death in so many senses. So, you know, that's what that is. Just me understanding, living up here, breathing, taking time for myself, enjoying life. You survive, you can't really enjoy life because you're not even thinking about living past goddamn next week. It's just everything day to day. So that's what it is for me.
So I deal with a lot of young men, and so they often tell me they from the streets, so they have to be in the streets. So, what advice would you guys give them in regards to, or how did you guys outgrow the streets in regards to where you are now? Because like you both, I think one you said earlier, everybody don't make it, right? So, what advice can you give the younger generation at this point, men and women, because we got women out there too, um, to let it go, or to divert, do something different?
Yeah, well, I can say this here easily. When you have a purpose for your living, that was a good cliche. You're from the streets, so you're in the streets. But the reality is, what are you doing in the streets? If you're doing something productive, then that's a good thing. Stay out there. But if you're doing nothing and you're not building up and making the community that you stay in better, then you're only just setting up the next generation for failure. So I don't believe that you can make the excuse of not understanding what you're doing. You're from the streets. And then, again, you can't be afraid to change, because peer pressure would make you feel like, I don't want to go around the guys, and they start looking at me like I'm a lame. And they start saying, man, you ain't even hanging out with us. You ain't doing that. But you watching them. They're not productive. They're not doing anything. But you still got to stay with them because you just want to be socially accepted. But that's not reality. The reality is that you have to make some real choices in life. Now, some get it sooner than others, but you have to make some choices that will make a difference in your life and say, hey, I can't keep living this way. I have to change because I'm not producing. So you have to produce. You have to have a reason for being out there in the streets. Just being out there because you that's where you came up. But you can make a difference in your community. I believe that. I'm a living example of that through just hard work and just realizing that you can disregard what they say. You can disregard it. You could just say, hey, how much difference what you said to me, whether it's something negative or just something that might disturb you for a minute, how much did it really affect you to the fact that it didn't bring no food to your table, it didn't pay down one of your bills, it didn't buy you no shoes. So if you're moving in the right direction and things are working for you, disregard what they say and move in a positive manner. That's what I would advise them to do. And it's not easy because I want everybody to like me, but that's not reality. No, that's not reality.
Good or bad?
Good, right? That's not reality. I would like for everybody to like me, and that means because I knew about peer pressure, and I was never really the one who looked for to be socially accepted. But I would like that. I would like that. But I seen a lot of times that it didn't make a difference. They weren't going to accept you. They just want you to follow them.
That's true.
And if they're going in the wrong direction, just go the opposite direction.
Well, I like one of you said, when you don't have your own agenda, they're going to create one for you.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. But that's that's why, you have to have some direction and some leadership, some purpose for your life, because, when you're following, it's easy to be misled. Wow. Yeah. So we have to be re-educated and find purpose for our own life. And that's what I think I've managed to do in the last latter part of my life, is understand that what people really think of you is not going to make a big difference, because you ain't gonna be able to stop them from doing that anyway. They're gonna still think what they think.
Oh, somebody. Al, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, just I do a lot of thought breakers with young people. I don't, you know, how you introduce and you say icebreakers. I do thought breakers. I feel like if you can break a young person thought, you can get them to change their own behavior. So I just ask them all the time. I say, how long do you think you can play the street game? Because ain't no winning. The street's not set up that way. And so I do activities where they can see how it's a trap. And at the end of the day, ain't none of us one in the street. And they know that more than anyone because they losing their peers at the all-time rate. And so my thing is I try to get them to understand how their brain is developed. And even though they seeing it happen to them in their mind, they still feel like it can't happen to them. But the reality is happening to them. And so I said, man, who really winning? You know, we always talking about we winning. How's we winning? And so, you know, that's the question you got to ask yourself. If you can honestly say, I can go out and shoot dice every day and gamble and come home with some money, that's a damn lie. Because you can't beat gambling. You can't beat the street. But some of them going to have to go through that process. And sometimes that process is necessary. I tell people all the time, sometimes incarceration is necessary, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But this is what the street's gonna get you, man. The street's gonna keep you unconscious. And I ask them too. I say, give me 5 things you want to live for. That's a hard question for them, but they'll tell me 10 things they'll die for.
Wow.
So this is how you can start getting them to think about their thinking. So you got to make it make sense for them. Because that's their thinking. And so, but you put it in a place where they can start to understand their own programming. And that's what got me from where I came. I re-educated myself because I started to understand the program.
I've never heard anybody say that you can't beat the street. I once heard a millionaire said that he used to go to Vegas to try to break Vegas and he couldn't.
It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
I heard a guy say before, you know, you can never outrun the street because they run too far.
Man.
Wow.
They run too far too far. And that's the truth. You know, it's just got to be some compromise with yourself along the way and say, you know, how long can you do this here? Because the body changes. And if the mind never changes, then you're really just defeating your purpose and you're just killing yourself. You're working backwards. So, you know, that's why I said, I don't mind working hard, but then I try to understand topic. We had a discussion before. A lot of things that I don't take on in terms of things I can't change. I just accept them. So I call it a diet for the mind. And that's just another subject, another topic. But I don't like to worry, in other words, because a lot of things I have to accept, I just really can't change. So with that being said, when you look at the things that's going on today with us, we don't always find ourselves understanding it and why. And if we just take time out and focus on more of what we need to do sometime individually, then you can go help someone else. Because we don't even understand our problems individually.
And see, I like to show them physical examples. I don't know if your audience can see all this here. This is a bankroll. This all money to the penitentiary. This about maybe 4,000 in my hand. I probably sent maybe about 20,000 over 30 years to the penitentiary. So everybody that thought they can beat the street didn't beat the street. So I always tell them it's undefeated. I don't care how you put in your mind. This is my evidence. This is my evidence. I can't get no tax return on none of this money. And this is over 30, 40 years. I just had to used to throw money orders in the bank because I was sending so much money. And I'm looking through some stuff, and I found this stuff today. I was like, look at that. That's keeping up. And because this is all the people who thought they could beat the street. That's when I quit. I say, shit, everybody that's incarcerated, I can't beat it. Who got me when I'm gone?
Wow.
And so I got to quit and do something different. And so this is, I like to show young people examples. Like, no, this is living proof that everybody thought they can beat it. It wound up beating them. So,
wow. Oh,
so
wow.
This is my paperwork.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all educating the people, and I'm getting the emails and texts saying it. So Lewis, if you could have dinner with any Black icon, dead or alive, who would you pick? Dinner and conversation.
Minister Louis Farrakhan, the minister.
Why?
I would love. You said why?
Yes.
Because I have followed the examples that he have set, and for myself and so many others. I watched a lot of the work, and it's not even easy for him. But realizing that he's older now, and if I just had the opportunity to sit down and have dinner with him, it would be great, because there's a lot of wisdom there, and a lot of it has been bestowed upon me. So I can just imagine what I would get in person.
Wow.
Knowing already what I've got just in a public way through the listening audience of sitting in the seat, but just to sit down and have dinner with him on a good full stomach, we probably can laugh and enjoy, and he could just share so much of that wisdom with me, because I've learned a lot from listening to the minister.
Yeah, I follow him too.
Good. That's great. That's great, because it's knowledge, it's wisdom, and that's all. So that would be the person I would love to sit down with and have dinner with.
You, Al?
I think it'd be. I got so many people, but right offhand, I think it'd be Betty Shabazz and Malcolm X.
Why?
And it would be Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott.
Why?
We're nothing without women. Just understanding what those women had to go through, how strong what they had to endure, to have these great, powerful Black men that they knew was going to die early death, and they stayed with the cause, and that's a model to me. I always idolized the people that knew that they was going to die before they saw the change.
Wow.
And just what went into that every day. What was that mindset like, knowing every day both of us can die because we want better for our people. And that just it don't get no greater than that. And then with Malcolm X, he's the greatest example to me of what reentry, redemption, and rebuilding like, because he went and self-educated himself. And having stuff that I know now didn't come from me going to school. I had to literally go and re-educate myself. So he's the greatest example of what incarceration can do when you break yourself out of your mental incarceration first and become conscious, because he was unconscious. And so just sitting in the room with them that couple, that power couple, to me, it would be everything. Because we don't have to venerate our women like we venerate our men, and we come from the womb, and so just having both perspectives in that room, what it was like.
I was so in tune with y'all, I forgot to do my 30-second commercial break, so I'm gonna do that. We got 7 minutes. So when we come back from this commercial, the next question gonna be, what is one topic you think men need to speak out more about?
My name is Cynthia Manuel. I was born in Chicago, and I am proud to be able to raise my son in Chicago. I work with inner city youth to show them different things outside of their neighborhoods. When these kids walk onto the farm, it makes them feel like they are free. I want these kids to know how to give back, and recycling is one of those ways.
So that commercial, I have a youth organization mentoring program. And so a couple summers ago, I did a 12-week program. I had about 15 young boys, and I was so appreciative that I had about 7 men who were consistent and showed up every Saturday with me for these young men. I do understand, as a boy mom, I can get them in a room. However, I need men like yourselves to come in and give him a transparent moment, because I do it, and I understand my space. So I appreciate you guys again for taking this time out, and I'm enjoying it, because you guys are educating me and the viewers. So I appreciate that.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome.
So the question I asked was, what's one topic you guys think men need to speak more openly about?
Well, I think for me, by me doing my own work and helping young men to do their work, just addressing our father wound. Most
Wow.
men carry a father wound, and when we don't address our father wound, we break our women and we break our kids. And you know that's talking about the boy. That's talking about the boy that never got healed in us. But unfortunately, you know, we in a society when they told us we can't be vulnerable, and so if we did become vulnerable, so in a certain aspect, you know, unfortunately, a woman would probably say you're being weak. That's a weakness. But we have to have the strength to deal and be vulnerable, to deal with them emotions, to cry, because crying is healing. It's a power in that. And talk about that, and not be afraid to tell your stories about the hurt little boy that became the abusive man, the woman beater, the killer, the shooter. So just that there, that's key for me.
Wow.
I think we have to be more transparent with that in our relationship and how we deal with our women, period. Even with our antiquated ideology sometimes. So
Thank you.
that's me.
Well, to speak to that, we just really have to be able to talk to one another. So much aggression toward one another. We don't allow ourselves to listen and balance out. So if there was this a time, I think it's more than ever now that we be able to just talk and open up with one another, you know. So I don't really know. Sometimes, you know, we you know, things that we really need to discuss, we discussing what happened with P. Diddy or somebody. You know what I'm saying? We try to avoid the real topics
You are so right.
we dealing with.
Right.
You
Oh
know,
my God.
we need to we don't want to talk about it. It's too much. We you know, it's like too hurtful to talk about some of the stuff that goes on with us. So if we can just listen. But it was something that Albert said to me a few weeks ago. You know, it's one thing to listen to somebody, but to listen to them with compassion.
Wow.
Say, I really care about what you're going through. Some people hear you out. Yeah, I know you say you ain't had that much money, but you still got $20 for me.
I love it.
Nothing I just said. I'm running short too. But you know, it just a little joke thrown in there because we have to be able to balance out. We have to be able to balance out. But the point is that, you know, we have to be able to listen with compassion to one another, and that's something that we don't do. We have to talk. We have to talk and be open and say, hey, you know, listen to me, but make sure you're understanding what I'm saying, not just hearing what I'm saying.
And that's across the board, and that's a skill, compassionate listening. Because unfortunately, a lot of us, our trauma come to the forefront. And I know trauma is the new hustle, it's the new sexy. We all had trauma. We had trauma since we got off the boat. But we get so reactive, and we listen to respond. We listen to react. We don't listen just to listen and be like, okay, let me compassionately really hear what this person is saying. Let me move out my way and like, okay, let me listen to his heart, and not respond and react through my trauma. Because I tell people all the time, if you already know what you gonna say before that person finished, you ain't listen to a damn thing he said. Excuse my language, but I gotta be candid.
You're right. That makes sense.
Grabbing our trauma, we listening to respond or react.
Right.
We're not listening to
No
heal.
real care.
No real care. So we have to be compassionate in our listening.
Well, I appreciate you guys. And so that concludes our evening. And so I think, Al, we spoke about you guys coming to our end of the month. We changed the date to push it out, to promote it. We wanted people to hear you guys talk, to give the insight on what you guys got going on and what you're doing. I would like to have you both on our in our session. We do a group session with all women, and so I gave them just a brief story about who you guys are. And so if the time is right for you guys, we're looking forward to having you guys come in and just continue the transparent moment, because we as women, we don't know. And most times the men we with ain't gonna give us the transparency, because they after what they after. So sometimes it takes an outside force to give you what you need mentally and verbally. And so I'm looking forward to that. So again, I appreciate you guys for coming on, and enjoy the rest of your day. Y'all be safe out there. And until then, I will see you guys sooner than later.
And thank you again.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, thank you.
You have a good
Peace
evening.
and blessings. Yep.
Thank you.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.